younger, he'd have the pick of world football for his next move. In the end, what that means is I think there are moves, really interesting moves out there from Arteta and Munoz. They're probably thinking my next move will be my biggest payday or my best chance at going to those elite clubs that I grew up watching and wanting to play for. It then becomes this complicated dance with Palace because I don't think those players were signed to sell on for big money. I think those were the sort of players to supplement the obvious stars in the making over the last few years. And in the end, be their own application, but also the manager. They're huge assets in themselves. It's been so surreal seeing Mateta play up front for France. A guy that we were laughing at 2-3 years ago, trying to sell for any kind of money. Yeah. He's had an incredible turnaround, which is credit to him. It's not just on the manager. He's really changed his whole way of training and applying himself on the pitch. Just the kind of ultimate centre forward. But yeah, seeing him play for France, seeing Pino, the last international break, a Palace player scored for Spain, and then Mateta scored for France, and I think Lerma, there was quite a few that scored for their countries, but Palace players playing for France and Spain is irrational. It's unreasonable. What's going on? It can't last forever. I think Palace would like to slowly drip feed these players out, 2 at a time at best. That might not necessarily be in their control, If Glasner goes, I suspect people will want to hurry out a bit quicker.
Yes.
We might end up having one of those Bournemouth-like summers that they've just had where 4 or 5 go. Which, if we get the fair value for them, then so be it. But after this summer, I think that's our biggest threat. I think we've got a real interest. If we get top 6 or top 4, suddenly that might be easier to say, come on, one more year. Go enjoy a run for Palace in this competition. But that's a long way away. Daichi Kamada will go, by the way. He's not an obvious star for us, but he goes where Glasner goes. So he's out of contract. He's not renewed his deal. So we suspect that, there's at least 1 or 2 going. And then it's about what can a club do to ensure it's not 4 or 5. Probably maximise what we've got the time with them between now and the summer.
Okay.
Or now and June. I keep saying the summer, forgetting that, I'm talking to you, and summer is not June for you, is it?
No, I mean, I've been a Premier League fan forever, right. So that's basically. Also, I live in the Midwest, so we get summer last. We are one of the last places in the country that gets the summer. So it is usually like late May when it starts getting really nice. Like, it'll be green, but it won't be like the heat. And so late May, early June is usually when it comes. Let's move on to Oliver Glasner, because what he's been able to do for the club is nothing short of amazing. I love the fact that he speaks up for himself. Like, there are a lot of managers who, they're great minds, but they don't rock the boat. And he definitely is just like, I need more from this club. If you want to keep me, I need more. And he's constantly saying it. And I like that. You need a guy who's going to back yourself. You need your players to be confident. You need your managers to be confident. And he obviously has gotten the best out of the club, out of the players. What do you think is his, one of his best skills? Is it his tactics? Is it his man management? Is it his flexibility in matches to adjust? What is a strength of his?
It's really been interesting to hear him speak tactically recently, because since he's been at the club, he's built everything around one particular system that it has worked so well for us that, quite often particularly when Ruben Amorim was struggling at Manchester United, there was this constant reference from Manchester United fans, but also potential candidates to replace him. Oh, look, he's trying to, here's someone that Oliver Glasner who really knows how to do this style that Amorim's been trying to build for 2 years. But actually, you speak to Glasner and he says, this isn't my choice. This isn't my system of my managerial career. I prefer 4-4-2 and stuff, but I just played. This is the cards I've been dealt, and the squad I have best suits this system. So that's what we've been working towards, which surprised even a lot of Palace fans, because actually flexibility away from that has been very minimal. But it has work so much, I guess what reason would there be to? We've lost like 5-6 games in 12 months. It's really unusual. I don't know what to do about it. Like in the league, it's really mad. But then, if you took the Palace chairman and some of the players talking about him, he's quietly, even though he doesn't seem like this big kind of up and out manager, he seems to be a really good motivator and instill belief, not just self-belief in people's abilities, but just change of mentality and the idea that, like, look, together, look, if I say we can do this, we're able to do it. Let me show you over this period of time. And it's totally proved that way. He's got he's basically on a 50% win ratio for Palace, which we've never had anyone near that at this kind of level. Like, that's like Alex Ferguson level. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. It's like, what's going on? And I think that has just brought into the players who are all... It is a real mixture of kind of profiles and stuff, but a lot of them they believe that they are capable of great things. Maybe it's the Palace fans that hold them back because they're in a Palace shirt, so therefore the great things you're capable of are probably not going to happen here. It will happen later on in your career. But he's been able to go, actually, look, do this right, follow this, apply yourself properly, and do it right. You can make those great things happen where you are at right now with this group that we all love together and can make things happen with. So self-belief and motivation seems to be a quiet sort of power that he's got. Yeah, what he's capable of, I totally agree with you. I think he should be talking as kind of slick as he has been in the last few weeks about being supported, about... He asked for a certain amount of players back in pre-season, got one or two short of that. And obviously, those, because of the nature of how the market is, we had to get players very late in that window. Yes, it's someone as good as Pino, but that's not maybe someone we've scouted for 6-7 months and maybe targeted. And they take time to adjust. Pino is still adjusting. I really like him, but he's totally different to how Eze plays, which is not necessarily worse. It's just different. And that, it changes how many goals we really score. However, and as a result of that, we've been really tested our depth right now. We're playing a game every 3 days for the next 6 weeks or so. And that's totally new for us, totally new for the squad. And we've been limping over the line for the last 4 games, I'd say. Second half, our result against Fulham was a bit of an outlier. We don't look like we can score a goal in the second half of games recently, and when it has cost us, so the Manchester United defeat or Strasbourg in the Conference League 3 or 4 days prior to that, the manager has not hid his frustrations with, I'm working with bare bones here. These players are dead on their feet. I said this would happen. I asked for more. You didn't get it to me. So I'm not taking the blame for it, essentially. And I'm like, too right. Do you know what? You can't argue with his record when these players are fit and firing. I worry that January will come too late for his frustrations about that. He was all smiles after the Fulham game, I suppose. But I don't know if he's going to get back to the way that he should. I think the contract is not the issue in terms of salary or anything. I think it really is about how ambitious are you, Crystal Palace, and what are you setting in place. And our chairman just had an interview with The Athletic, and he's already trying to play that stuff down, saying, like, look, we have to prioritize infrastructure.
Oh gosh,
the financial rules mean that we have to. It rewards revenue building rather than so like mid-table clubs right now are quite restricted by their ability to speculate and take chances in a way that what's an interesting case. Look who's above us right now. Aston Villa, a bigger club than us by all measure, but not necessarily have achieved much in the Premier League over the last 20 years, let's say. They are a bigger club and have big existing infrastructure, so they're able to spend really big on signings, and even some of them go wrong and get that money back elsewhere. And they're working on a different level with an excellent manager. A team we beat all the time, by the way, somehow, which is crazy. Whereas with Palace, we have a 25,000 capacity stadium. If you're trying to get corporate revenue, you're fighting against Arsenal, Chelsea, Tottenham. It's easier said than done trying to... And we've had this plan in place to extend the stadium for 8 years. The anniversary was on the 5th of December. It got announced 8 years ago, and there hasn't been a spade in the ground on that yet.
Oh, no.
Apparently, it's happening in January. Because where our sort of chaotic nature of lower bottom of the half of the Premier League, we kept having to pull into that money to go and buy players and stuff. And I think Parish, with the comfort of where we are right now, has had to say, look, I remember how I bought the club. It was in administration, facing bankruptcy in the second tier, about to go down to the third tier. My priority is always the long-term security of Crystal Palace Football Club. That was the start of this model that means we're speculating with younger players, trying to build them up, which is smarter. And I mean, you wanted to skip over overrated and underrated stuff about football. I think scouting in the top level of football is seriously overrated because people just go, who scored 15 goals in the top 5 league this season? Okay, we want you. They don't actually think about who's kind of the little tier below that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I worry that Glasner's not going to get what he wants in January. And if that is the case, I don't see a reason for him to stay, even if we go into the Champions League. The only thing I can see him staying beyond that point, beyond just being happy to be here and we'll give him whatever he wants in terms of salary, I do wonder, because of the type of system we're playing, the cup final was a very extreme version of it. Let me be clear. We don't always play like